This is Factory Fridays from boats.com, the show where we visit builders across America to get a first-hand look at their boat building techniques, materials, and stories.
Hi, I'm Marilyn DeMartini with boats.com. And today, Factory Fridays brings us to New Gretna, New Jersey to visit Viking Yachts. Now, Viking has grown quite a bit physically and in its holdings since Bill and Bob Healy bought a wooden boat factory here in 1964. Now, Viking Marine Group includes Viking Yachts, Valhalla, Palm Beach Towers, Atlantic Marine Electronics. So let's go behind the scenes and see how all of those entities come together as we show you how Viking yachts are built. Let's go. Hello, Lonni.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. This is a really impressive way to start our tour here at Viking Yachts.
Well, thank you.
Just to give you an idea of the size of this factory, we walked a quarter of a mile to get to this yacht, so we're going to get our workout today. But that's only part of the nearly 1 million square feet that Viking has between here at the yachts and at the Valhalla factory nearby.
Right.
So this is where it all begins in fiberglass?
We're standing here with hull number 9 of our 90 convertible series boats, and we're basically looking at an infused hull. It's now being prepared and ready for all the internal bulkheads, stringers, and the remaining structure that'll go in the boat over the next 4 or 5 days. So this is the beginning of our line. This is where our production starts to build the boat, but at the same time, we've got a lot of stuff going on throughout all of our other support areas.
So we talk about vertical integration when we talk about Viking, because you have so many support businesses and companies under one umbrella that create all of your yachts.
Absolutely. Bill Healy, when he founded the company years ago, knew that the best way to keep control of the quality of the product was to make sure that you had control over how it was manufactured and what went into the boats. So through the years, as we've established needs, what we've done is looked at ways to bring that process in-house so that we can control both the quality of the product and the supply side. So then what we're looking for is we deal with a lot of vendors that can bring us in the raw materials that we need in order to produce the boats and the products that go into the boats as we go.
Well, as VP of Design and Engineering, you've got your hands in just about everything here, I'm sure.
Absolutely. A lot of people say I have a lot of hats, but I always say I don't have a hat because I'm always doing something different.
Well, starting here, we see the complexity of this mold and the hull design to accommodate everything from your prop shafts here to what will be staterooms and center. I'm just overwhelmed at the size of this yacht.
Well, thank you. It's important when we get larger, and even on the smaller product, that you go as far out in front of the design end to support the production facility. When you're in the production environment, anything that you have to do that's a change or that requires an adjustment is a constant drag on the production line. So we really look at getting everything in to minimize what has to be done after the fact.
And you go from your smaller size is?
Right now we're building a 38-foot billfish boat, and we go all the way up to 90 feet on our Viking line, and on our Valhalla line we're at 33 feet up to 55 feet, with the 55 actually being built here.
It's built here, right. So this is the hull for the 90. This is a deck that's being laminated now. Where does the process go from here?
Well, what'll happen is once this part is pulled from the mold, it'll move forward slightly about, basically, I would say half of the length of this building to our what we call our egg crate stage. In that stage, what they'll do is they'll do the final detailing of the internal structure. We'll install our fuel tanks, water tanks, and holding tanks. They'll do all of the cutouts for any of the openings in the side of the hull, and then it'll move into the mechanical stage, which is where we did the engine fly in.
This is impressive, Lonni. I mean, the buzzing that's going on out there and the detail here. I mean, we've seen the finished product in the salons and the mezzanines of Viking Yachts, the horizontal grains, the ebony inlay in the doors, and now we see each little piece that goes into that. There must be hundreds of wood parts that go into each boat.
Literally. What we do actually is each one of the parts that we build through the process is actually serialized so that down the road, if we need to do something, we're able to get the number. We can go back, get a batch number for any of the finish that we do and any of the materials. We're standing right here in our finishing booth area. We actually are able to produce both satin finishes and gloss finishes on all of the material that we put into the boats today. This area right here is basically at the leading end of our mill area, and all of the material as we go back would just go from a lesser and lesser stage of completion. So we actually bring material in the mill in its raw form. We do full panels. We manufacture through routers and 5-axis machines. We have planing machines, point-to-point machines, and all types of profilers that we're able to then produce all of the materials that we actually put into the boat. So we go from raw material to finished cabinetry here.
And you use mahogany, teak, all different sorts of woods.
Yes, and we're getting more and more exotic as we go along. We've done some doors now that have an ebony inlay in them. We've done a lot of teak. We do more and more walnut today. And we've seen a lot of changes moving over into some of the decor items, such as your countertops and things along those lines. That's always a challenge.
The fashion of boats changes over the years too, doesn't it? I mean,
it's
how the
constantly
interior design.
going, absolutely. Obviously, the product that we build is a product that's used by people who enjoy the luxury in addition to the quality and the use of the boat. So we're constantly seeing new ideas come in and customers wanting to upgrade and just build out the product that we're building, so that we're always implementing that each and every day. So.
Amazing. Well, this is unlike any fuel tank I've ever seen.
Yes, this is one of the fuel tanks that we did when we started the infusion process. We knew that fuel tanks were an area that we would get a lot of benefit from. Having all of our fuel tanks being optimized to the shape of the boat, as you can see, we have a lot of detail in them. One of the areas that infusion gave us was an ability to make sure that each of these areas was consistent in thickness, and we didn't have to deal with ups and downs as far as fitment within the boat. Also, with the infusion process, we know that tank's going to weigh what it's going to weigh, and the laminate thicknesses are where they need to be. This tank just finished. It was probably a total of a 5-minute process to actually infuse the part. And we've actually taken this process and we use it for all of the additional pieces and parts that go inside of it. Our baffles, our lids, and all of our liner parts are also infused for the individual tank.
So it's almost like a controlled blood flow. And this is all done manually. Your staff knows exactly how much needs to be on each area of this.
After we establish the initial tank setup, we go through, we do have a series of drawings that are given to the production people. It basically gives them where our feed port and where our vacuum ports will be. And we've established the resin volume that we're expecting to put into the tank. So they, through a series of just doing them over and over again, have gotten it down to the place where they'll be able to set this up and do it in no time.
So it's another way that Viking has established to make your production consistent and all controlled in-house.
Yes, and actually it was, as we said, it was one of the first things that we started infusing. It was something that we undertook about 25 years ago when we knew that we wanted to do something on a better way of building the fuel tanks, and infusion was just that natural progression.
So, CNC machines.
Yes, we're standing in front of one of 3 of our CNC machines here. 2 of them are the pedal machines, and one is our new Haas machine that we use for doing many, many parts. We do everything from engine mounts to electronics display pieces to the internal parts of some of our control panels, electrical panels. A lot of our switching and distribution panels are all handled in-house here. Again, keeping the control inside. So if we get a customer that comes in and wants to do something that's unique, they may want to move a switch or have a different layout of a helm area, we're able to do that here instead of needing to go out of house and have someone do it for us. Early on in the process, we knew that there was going to be a lot of aluminum work within our product. Bill Healy was an adamant metal worker in his day, and he brought everything in-house. We have the capability of doing all of the aluminum work that we can do on a boat here or through our PBT subsidiary, the Palm Beach Tower Group. So Palm Beach Towers will do a lot of our tower stuff, and we'll do all of the other hardtop stuff here. We actually do all of the hardtop work, pipe work for all of our Valhalla product here, and we do all of the plates and distribution panels here in the machine shop. We also have a full paint room where we're able to do both powder coating, polyester powder coating, and liquid paint that we also do. We can paint anything up to a hardtop support, all the way down to some of the small brackets that we use to actually install parts and pieces within the boat itself.
So there's a lot of metal that goes into every boat that nobody sees. It's things that are, again, behind or underneath all of the finishes.
Yes, and we bring it in from pre-cut sizes all the way up to sheet good and go from there on a lot of those pieces. Right here, he's actually manufacturing engine shims, which we use for the fine adjustment of an engine installation, similar to what they would be doing on the install that we saw earlier.
And so this is all computerized, everything is cut, and then it's hand finished and moves on to production.
Everything will be processed through here, sent over to the line in the staging area. Some parts are manufactured on a per boat basis as required. Other parts are manufactured to actually go into inventory, and again, supporting the need for the company so that we're not waiting for an outside part.
So we've seen wood, metal, fiberglass. Where does it all come together?
Everything goes together, as we said earlier, on the production line. We started in the back where we were seeing the hull mold, and then we go right up the line to the finished product down at the water.
And we're heading there next?
We can head there now.
All right, let's go.
So we've made our way to the middle of the production lines between line 1 and line 2. And at this point, a major portion of all the support area parts and pieces have been actually brought in and started to be assembled in the boat. And most of the assembly is taking place in the next 3 stages of the build process. And what we'll see in these areas is you have all of your seakeeper has been installed, the engine installation that we looked at previously. A lot of the carpentry interior units are now being installed into the boat, and all of your wiring, your plumbing has already been installed. So in this area itself is like a major assembly portion where everything starts to feed into the lines and go forward.
Well, it's interesting that you made the analogy before about other areas of the factory being like an aircraft carrier where there is things coming in from all different directions. And here, it all comes together, and the size of this space and the way you have it arranged. I mean, to be able to drop an 11,000-pound MTU engine into the boat was really impressive to see, seeing the Seakeeper being installed. I mean, the size of your wiring harnesses, everything, you know, here seems to impact the size of Viking and what you create.
This area of the facility was actually manufactured to build the larger boats. As we walked around the facility, you'll see that there's various heights and elevations throughout. But when we started building this line 1 and line 2, we literally knew that we were going to be building the larger boats, and we built it to support those size bats all the way up to the front. And we were actually building it during our 92 production line, and we followed the building up the line with the building of our 92 at the time.
And you also build the Valhalla 55s here, right? Because they're too big for the Valhalla.
As part of our growth and expansion through the years, as we've moved to consolidated lines, we wound up with 2 smaller areas over on the far side of our line 4 building. And what we've done now is actually utilize one of the old lines to build the 54 because we're able to do it on the smaller, low profile area. And we can take a look at that as we walk out towards the end of the line, and you'll see really where they are put together.
So now we're on the smaller side of Viking.
Yeah, this is the area that we set up to build our 55 Valhalla line. We're standing here in front of Hall 14 and 15, 16 right behind them. We've taken the forward third of our 4th building where we would previously build much smaller boats in years past, and we've converted that to our 55 Valhalla line.
And I understand you have like about 50 of these on order.
Yeah, we have a 2-year backlog right now on the product, and we're continuing to build them as fast and as quickly as we can get them out the door.
And now the 600s, this boat was designed for the 600s, correct?
Yes, when we went into development of the 55, we had already been using the 600s on our 46 line with Mercury, and we knew that it was going to be something that would absolutely be able to support and provide the speeds and performance that we wanted. So we've developed the boat itself around both quad and quint 600 horsepower packages, and it's been very, very good in both performance and reliability on the engine itself.
Well, it's fascinating to see all sides of the spectrum of your model range line all under one building. And we'll get to see more of the Valhalla line when we go to your other factory.
Yep, you'll be heading over to the Valhalla Boat Works area tomorrow, I believe, or some other time, and they got a really good operation going over there also. A lot of the same process, philosophies, a lot of the parts that come from here, as I said, will go over there, so you'll see some of those parts when you get there.
Yep, it's the inspiration that came from Viking to create this, right?
So we're looking forward to it. So if we take a couple moments, we'll go down and see the end of the Viking stuff and see everything that's actually in its finished state and ready to go.
Let's go.
All right.
Well, this is the literal end of the line, but beginning of the Viking on-water experience.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, we're standing here in front of our 80 demo, which will be running this summer through most of the Northeast tournament circuit. So everybody will be able to get out and see it and see what's going on.
And you've got a little bit of everything else as we see down the line. And we see the Palm Beach Towers and the Atlantic Marine Electronics, everything installed, everything that you do in-house together on the dock.
Yep, there's a little bit of everything on each boat that gets done down here from each, whether it be AME, whether it be PBT, there's customization. As a matter of fact, if you walk on each one of these boats, you'll probably see something different on each boat that's just unique to that individual customer.
Well, Viking has certainly made it a point to not just produce boats, but to really customize them and make them personal for each one of your customers. And a lot of your customers have multiple Vikings, don't they?
Yes, they do. And now, as a matter of fact, they're picking up Valhallas. So now we have customers that have the bigger Vikings and a Valhalla behind it.
Well, it's been very exciting to be here and see the whole behind-the-scenes story of what Viking Yachts does. And we thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you for being here. It's been enjoyable.
And thank you for joining us for Factory Fridays on boats.com.
This is Factory Fridays from boats.com. Follow boats.com on YouTube and Instagram to stay tuned for the next episode. Visit boats.com for more videos and boat-related content. Boats.com. Everything boats.